So my old assembly table, which was the piece of wood on top of the sawhorses, works pretty good, but it could be better, right? Let's be honest. What I'd like to have is something that's mobile so that I can move it around in my garage because it's not the biggest workshop. I'd like not to spend too much money on it. So what I'm going to do is use what I have on hand.
I'm repurposing my old porch rafters. Since I don't have a joiner, I'm going to attempt to get square lumber with the table saw. I'm going to cut these into smaller pieces to take out as much of the curves, bows, and cups that I can. I just realized I have a mix of 2x6s and 2x8s here. So now that I have all of my boards cut to oversized length, I can use my table saw to remove the paint from the faces of the boards. Since this is used lumber, I want to switch out my blade. I have an old blade that I keep for resawing used lumber. This way, if I hit a nail that I missed, I don't ruin a new blade. This will let me put them in my planer to make them nicer. I don't want to run the risk of paint chipping my blades. I'm using the table saw to cut away 1/8 of an inch to get rid of the paint. Since these boards are too big to get the face in one pass, I flip the board over to remove the other 1/8 of an inch. I try to remove as little as possible, but I want square boards, so I will rip them to the smallest amount I can while still removing all the paint. And that's why you use a push stick. I'm going to take the paint off the edge of the boards now. I want to get rid of this rotted piece on the corner, and I want them all to be the same size. So I'll rip them all to this size as I strip the paint off the edge. I've only got one side left, so I nudge the rip fence just enough so the paint will be cut off, and finish stripping these boards of paint. I'm going to run these through my planer to give myself clean faces. Once I have a decent enough face on one side, I flip it over to get a decent face on the other side. This is just for shop furniture, so it's not crucial that it's perfect. I'm giving myself one square end before I set up the stop block, checking to make sure I get rid of as much imperfection as possible. I mark an X on the side that isn't squared yet for when I set up my stop block. I set up a stop block so all my legs are the same height. This is still a height that's larger than the final cut. I'm ensuring I'm cutting off the piece with the X on it. I clamp the two leg pieces together so they don't move while I drill and screw them. The leg is made of 1 mil 2x8 and 1 mil 2x6. Because my garage floor isn't level and I want the top to be level, I'm marking out where the wheels are. This will give me a place I know I can move the bench to that will make the top level. I know that my table saw isn't level. Since I want my bench to be level and to be used as an outfeed table, I measure the height I want on the lower side of the table saw. I set up a laser level and move the legs into their position. Then I mark this height minus the tabletop on the leg. Then I measure the distance to the level. I measure down that distance on every leg. Then I cut the legs to that level marking. I cut some 2x4s to have 45-degree ends, and 2 to run across the bottom. I screw the legs in place using pre-drilled holes in the dumpster frame. My cameraman didn't shoot the placement of the 2x4s on the frame, so here's what it looked like in SketchUp. I cut out the corner braces, like you saw, and then I placed them into the frame like such. This is what it looks like. To cut the lower shelf, the size was difficult because it was rather large. If you look closely, you can see I found a neighborhood leprechaun to help me. Then I notched the board for the legs. I drop the plywood in place and then pre-drill and screw it down. I start screws into the 2x4s and then I ensure they are level when I lock them into place. I'm using clamps to hold the center stretchers in place flush with the level boards. Again, I only use one screw. When I go to lock it in place with the second screw, I rack it plumb first. Now that it's locked in place, I go ahead and put the additional 2 screws into the stretcher pieces. I put the edge stretchers in place using clamps to hold it for me. Then I pre-drill and lock them in place. I pre-drill and screw all but one side of the tabletop in place. I chalk a line, and then I use a circular saw to cut my plywood to length. If you didn't have a table saw or a miter saw, you could perform all of these cuts with a circular saw. Finally, I sand the top to 120 grit and round over the sides with the sander.
This is probably one of the best bottle openers I've had. I'm pretty happy with this project. I got a perfectly level table that I can pour resin on and not have to worry about shimming anything. I've got an excellent outfeed table for my table saw. If you have any questions, comment down below. I'll try and answer them. If you think this is a cool bottle opener, go ahead and like and subscribe. So I filmed two different endings for the outro, and honestly, I loved them both, but I couldn't tell which one to use, so let me know down in the comments below which one you think is better.